So here's the situation. You install VS Code, you want to start programming, but you end up staring at your screen. So you gotta start simple, with simple ideas. Also, listen, you won't gonna make some new fancy Facebook or the next big thing, but that's honestly fine because you're just starting out. So pick something really simple. It's fine to Google simple starter projects, so it's completely fine. So picking a path is really important since you picked an idea, but you don't really know how to start. Picking a path is important since it's based on what you're interested in, and with that, you can look up what to learn, what to focus on, and a resource and theory you might need. Sites like Roadmap SH are quite nice and helpful. Not sponsored, by the way. It has roadmaps for languages you want to learn and need, and for the direction you want to go, let's say front-end developer. Like, it starts very basic and goes pretty much harder, which is quite common. Learning the basics is very important. You gotta learn how to do the concepts, learn how to apply them. By making a small project, you basically use the concept you just learned, and it will start to click into your mind. Also, learn the syntax, how the code is structured properly, and etc. Don't fall for these traps, neglecting proper formatting. So basically, there are languages like Python where indentation, which is, by the way, the spacing on the left, it's very important to keep that in mind. And comments. So some might say you don't really need comments, but I would say comments are important. You just basically tell yourself, okay, this does this, and that's how it works. And that's why it works. You give yourself documentation, I would say. Ignoring error messages and warnings. So the thing is, you will and you need to read what your compiler or just what your terminal or console says. You need to read those, and especially the warnings. Warnings are there for a reason. Because a lot of people just ignore the warnings because those aren't error messages. Shiny object syndrome. So here's the thing. When I started programming, I had a shiny object syndrome. Yes, it's a thing, it's a very common thing where you start with one language. You see, let's say, a YouTube video or a blog post where the next technology, or yes, where an technology got mentioned, oh, it uses that language, but you learned already that language and you didn't actually learn that language, and you end up juggling 12 or a bunch of programming languages, and you didn't actually learn the basic of every one of them, but for some reason you know of every language the print statement. Congrats, mate. But yeah, it's very bad. Stick to one language till you know the basics, and if you need a different one, just move on. Avoiding version control. So here's the thing. I will cover version control a bit later, but something like Git or any other version control software is very, very important and crucial as a programmer. You will need it, and you will use it, and you need to learn it. Please. Trying to memorize everything. So here's the thing. You won't memorize a whole code block. You won't memorize how to build a whole ass server. And you won't memorize how to build a whole website in React. It was just an example. Like, for the love of God, don't memorize a whole code. Don't. Just But now the very important one, one of the important traps, skipping hands-on practice. This is very important. If you just learn the theory and just skip the hands-on practice, you won't properly code. That's the very important thing. Also, copy pasting random code without understanding it. Let's say you don't, it's okay to Google stuff, like let's say you don't know how to do this and you found some code on Reddit or Stack Overflow, which is completely fine. But for the love of God, read what it does and type it. Don't just copy paste something. Like, please. For one, you get better at it. Well, coding, you know. Also, clean code is one of the huge scams of programming. Don't try to make clean code. And I mean it. Like, you will make dirty code, and that's normal. Just make code that works. If it works, it works. If you're sure, if you're absolutely sure, okay, I can make it more cleaner, and I know how to make it cleaner. Make it cleaner, make a different branch, and experiment. And I mean it. Okay, now here's the thing. Go mad, lad. Yo, just yank it. But honestly, don't be shy to break your code. You can always Control Z, or if you use, like I mentioned, Git, you can completely revert it, which is awesome. Like, if you have a huge code base and you changed a lot, you did a lot of commits, you can always revert them with Git, which is completely awesome. So debugging and fixing something, some bugs, is completely normal as a programmer, and you'll learn from this, especially from error codes. Okay, so I get it. Right now, it's boring, it's tedious, but if you're skipping basics and just want to do some crazy projects, you'll end up looking up tutorials on YouTube. Let's be real. We've all done it. Tutorial hell is painful. Don't. Just don't. Stick to the basics and get better at it. So don't hesitate on taking advantage of free online resources like languages such as Java, Python, Rust, and TypeScript, as an example, got documentations about the language on their website, on the main website of the language, which is honestly pretty awesome. YouTube videos are also pretty good and explain topics visually, which is quite nice because some people like it more visually. Some subreddits about learning the code are pretty nice. Stack Overflow is a thing. Would I discourage from it? Maybe, but here's the thing. It's quite a gamble. Sometimes there's gonna be someone who just didn't understand the question at all, which gets, of course, downvoted, and you get a not really helpful comment, and it maybe gets closed. But here's the thing. I personally don't like Stack Overflow. Like, you probably don't understand the question yourself, so, like, don't get me wrong, you don't understand what happens. Also, as I mentioned, Roadmap SH, which just delivers, like it redirects you to pretty awesome and helpful resources. Not sponsored, by the way. So, focus mainly on the act of problem solving by thinking logically and breaking down the problem into smaller steps before actually writing the code. Like, let's say as an example, for a game, like let's say a turn-based game, the main part about turn-based games are attacking. Okay, let's say attacking. No code, just basically the logic employed. So we start with checking if there's not an enemy. Might be weird, because usually you want to check if there's actually an enemy at all. But let's say we want to check if there's not an enemy. What would we do? Just move on, right? So we check if there's not an enemy. We just move on. Else, we attack and go back to if. If there's no enemy, we just move on. Simple as that. We just break it down. And we're basically ready to... Okay, so this is quite the scary part. Like I mentioned, subreddits for coding. Sharing code is not a bad idea, honestly. So be ready to avoid stuff like, hey, that's totally bad and not best practice, and just let people explain stuff, because that's okay. It's about learning and not being the best of the best. Like, I get it, it's scary. I don't write good code too. I just look up best practices online myself, so I'm not a professional at all. And I do sometimes weird stuff, which is questionable, and I could have done better. But yeah, I just do it. Like, it feels good, it feels natural, and I just do it, even if it's not good. But I would say this as quite the thing. Starting program is harder than actually learn programming. Like, here's the thing. When you start programming, you don't know anything. Like, barely anything. Bare bones. You start very bare bones. So yeah, starting to program can be hard, but be patient and stuff will eventually click in. It took me a lot of time to finally understand programming. Like, honestly, if you need a course for programming, get a course. Like, Skillshare, not sponsored by the way, is a great option for courses. Would I say Udemy? Probably, not sponsored by the way. And yeah, I don't know many of those resources, so don't ask me about that. But yeah, that's about it. Cheers, mate.